Oof. Hello, boys. Hello, ladies. What's going on? Hello, friends. Who do we got here? Who was here first? That's what matters. Oh, what do you know? It's Neil. Vlad. What's up, Neil? Fish on fish. Hello, one gimmick. A dark bone. Look at that, a sub on the starting soon screen. What have we come to here? What type of generosity? Fetus. A brand new sub. Yo, my friend and I saw you at the gym. Oh, what's up, Fetus? What a fucking username from the kid here. Fetus. Somehow, not anyone on planet Earth thought to take the username Fetus before you. Holy smokes. That's damn impressive at this point. That is just damn impressive. Go, Fetus. We like that username around here. We like that username. It describes a lot of people's chess levels around here as well. 2012 username. That's what I'm saying. It's giving OG vibes. It really is. 10 gifted subs as well? I'm spoiled right now. Fetus. Your energy is transferring to me. Thank you for the 10 subs. On top of that, a brand new sub. Himself. 10 subs for those around him. Looking out for the people. And yeah, man, it's good to run into you bouldering. I went bouldering today. My hands are a little marked up here. My hair looks terrific. Well, thank you, Chicken Pants. You know what I did today? Insane thing, Chicken Pants. I showered and I actually used a hair dryer. What do you know? No, we can't have this discussion again. Not with Chess TV here. This could get carried away. Retrodictions, thanks for the 9 months, tier 3. Thank you, Retrodictions. Abu962, 10 months with Prime. We're just getting started here. I'm not going to be going nearly as long as yesterday. We streamed for 13 hours yesterday. Just thought I'd come on, say hi, play a few games, maybe play a few more of our slow time control games like we've been doing. We have the initial energy here from Fetus. The 10 gifted. L. Hughes, not to be outdone. Thank you for the 5 gifted. Mr. Hughes. Appreciate you getting us started here. L. Hughes and Fetus. Look at these guys. Appreciate you, gentlemen. I'm taking challenges from the chat. Who's getting one in? Exclamation mark challenge. Christian. That's right, the Fresh Prime Splatter. Thank you very much, Christian, for the Prime. Retrodictions. Again, appreciate the tier 3 Retrodictions. We love a supporter. We love a supportive king. G-Cobb, did you see your buddy from the tournament? You played someone in our viewer tournament yesterday. That's right. That's right, G-Cobb. What was his name? This guy. Oh, you remember that guy? Well, would you look at that? Remarkable. No. No, really? Wow. He's so good. Yeah, a 1 month sub. There's no way he could possibly be up to something. Yeah, a very convincing game. Well, maybe you got some rating back there, G-Cobb. Hope you did. Because, yeah, he did get the ban hammer. He got the ban hammer. I mean, it was too good to be true. Sad Rabbit, thanks for the gifted sub as well. Phenom Monkey, 82 months. Thank you, Phenom Monkey. And welcome back. Very good to see you. Exactly, speaking of supportive. Speaking of long-time support. Appreciate you there, Phenom. It has been a while. Hope you're doing well. I think the last time you came in and had like a big update, it was a very good one on your behalf. So I was happy to hear that. Sad Rabbit, gifting a sub. Yeah, 550 from Russia. Exactly. You know they're talented. If they're 550 from Russia, I mean, something's up actually, because no one's 550 in Russia. You start higher rated than 550. What the hell? Giant Space Octopus. Might have to start abbreviating that. GSO. Cheers, GSO. GSO. Yeah, we can go with that. Nice little abbreviation there. Thanks for the $20. Look, I mean, people are just raving right now with the early support here. We have some subs from Al Hughes. GSO with the $20. We had 10 subs from our buddy Fetus. Official Soul resubbing. Thanks very much. Phenom Monkey with 82 months. I mean, what? We just started. You guys have some energy today. We have to play G-Cobb first. He has had the toughest 24 hours. Oof. Poor guy played a cheater in our Underdog Title Tuesday yesterday. It's been a rough go for him. Is he a Lakers fan? That's a great question, and honestly, does it even need an answer? Real T-Money? Of course he is. You can just tell. Yes, hello Airbus driver. But Airbus, I'm not making that up, right? That's like a legitimate thing? I don't think I'm making that up, at least. Just want some confirmation. You've never heard it before? Well, maybe we can quiz some of the other individuals in chat. Is there anyone here from the UK? I think it specifically has to be the UK. Like, not just Europe, England, UK. So the question is, the term rail, can you use it as like you're spectating something? Like railing a match. Neil says yes. I think he's British. Isn't that a poker term? Is it a poker term? But what does it mean in poker? Just watching someone play poker? Because I've heard on the rail. That's different, though. That's different. I'm referring to specifically, like, a casual comment. Oh yeah, I was just was just railing the match the other day. Oh yeah, I went to see it in person so I could rail the whichever player. That's not a British saying. Hey, wait a minute. G-Cobb is being a little friendly here. You went to rail LeBron. Exactly. I think so, Airbus driver. So now I can share my story. I still think that it makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Like the railing that holds people back. So if you rail something, it means that you're behind the railing watching. But I'll tell you what the story is. The story is that I played, and this was before I was a grandmaster. So this was 2017. 2017. So I'm in London and I'm at a tournament called the London Chess Classic. It's a pretty big tournament. I'm not even sure the status of it anymore, if it's still popular, if they still host it post-COVID, but it's a pretty substantial tournament. And 2017, before I became a grandmaster, I played this tournament. I was trying to get my last GM norm. In fact, right after this tournament, I went to Spain and I got my last GM norm and became a grandmaster. But when I went to London and played this tournament, there were some SlowBrah fans that showed up or caught me after my game and said, you know, dude, like, you know, recognize you from SlowBrah. Big fan, actually. My friend and I were railing you earlier. And so we just thought we'd say hi. I said, oh, that's interesting. You were railing me earlier. Around what time? When was it exactly? Oh, I thought that might be you. Yeah. These two guys, that's how they introduced themselves. I said, oh, I was railing you earlier. I said, Jesus Christ, I didn't know I was being railed. So that's why I'm inquiring. Because I'm pretty sure. Ever since then, as I've been under the impression. Maybe maybe I did get railed. I don't remember. Little did I know. Yes. Not a lot of time. GG, G-Cobb. Bebop33, thanks for the brand new sub. Cheers, buddy. Giant Space Octopus, thanks for the 1,000 bits. So I guess you're a City fan. I guess. They kind of railed Real Madrid today, right? Probably poker dudes applying the term to chess. Well, basically, if it's a term in poker, then at least it's understood, like, it has a meaning, right? It's not, what I'm confirming is that it's not like there are zero places or activities or sports or whatever in the world where you can say that you railed someone and you're talking about spectating them, right? It comes from somewhere. Been trying to solve this case ever since. GG, Mr. Cobb. All right, Treaty 6, we also have to play, you know. Obviously, as you can see, an Edmonton fan. Maybe don't use it if it can be misunderstood. Completely agree. But these individuals that I met, they used it so confidently. Hey, dude, I was railing you earlier. You were what now? I'm going real solid here. The hedgehog. Go me. It was pretty funny. This was also the first thing, like, within the first sentence of meeting someone, this is what I heard. You know? First sentence. Hey dude, what's up? You know, I know you from the SlowBrah channel. Big fan. I was actually railing you earlier. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot to hear. We actually have to make this queen move pretty early. E5 is kind of like, it's actually pretty normal to make a move like bishop e7 here, but you have to be careful. You can get a fairly bad position after e5 here. Your bishop is hanging, and then they take the knight, and bishop, like, the pawn hits all your pieces, so have to be a little careful. Don't want to get railed. Thanks for the $10, G-Cobb. I think so, Wild Hacks. I think that's the plan. SlowBrah, group fun and railing in Europe. You're on the Celtics now, Queen Trap? I mean, you have to be on the Heat for value, I think. I agree the Celtics might win it, but it's like, why would I not put money on the Heat at these odds? Maybe you already have shirts, you know? That's the truth right there. Maybe you already have. Exactly. I mean, let's get real. Am I not being railed by everyone in the chat at the moment? This is a group railing. I'm getting railed by Chess TV right now. Take, and then one of these moves. These are the classic breaks in the position. I'm probably going to go with b5. d5 is good, but I'm not sure I want to give up the e5 square, so I'll just go like this. Idea is to put pressure there. I really like that move, actually, by my opponent. I think I'm going to have to play the expected h6. g6 looks markedly safer. Yeah, surprisingly, this doesn't actually... It's like he really wishes the pieces could be the other way around, maybe? I like the energy. Probably doesn't quite work, but I'll always respect energy. I guess both are kind of similar. I guess we'll take this one. Guess we'll take that one. Yeah, I really like the way he's playing, I have to say. It's a good game. Treaty 6. In my opinion. Just, you know, high octane. He's fighting here. I like that move too. All right, let's go here. Stop queen h6. Maybe get that. Also hit this pawn. Yes, I have this rook hanging, but remember, I'm up a whole rook here, so I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to look for much more. Very nice. Look at that. Good game, Treaty 6. Definitely down a lot of material, and unfortunately, I guess most of your stuff was speculative, but I really had to play some fairly precise defensive moves. So I don't think that if it looked easy, it wasn't. Yo, Josh. Always always a great username. Dangerous Strangerous. Look at him. He's coming in here resubbing, letting everyone know that he is right around the corner from 69 months. Thank you, Dangerous Strangerous, 68. Yes, next month is the big resub. The big month. Thank you, Das Vorn Mechanician. Thanks for the 3 months. Something about a German mechanic? Who knows? Is the bull habits over? No, it's not. It is not. Not everything goes on YouTube in the VODs channel, so there's never any promises our streams end up there. Copyright issues and whatnot. But we haven't started uploading it to our main YouTube channel yet, so you haven't missed anything. You haven't missed anything. Shade Forest, thanks for the 41 months. I actually just did Bullet Habits yesterday, so still continuing it. I think we're at like 1,300 right now. Well, Korean Knife, that's what he's talking about, actually. So the Bullet Habits is nowhere on the main YouTube. He's talking about it being on the VODs, and I'm saying even on the VODs, there's no guarantee that every single episode is going to be there, because it could have been part of a longer stream where there was copyright stuff, something like that. All right, Darkbone, good luck, dude. Play Bullet. I'm going to hold off for now. Trying to get in a real chess mood. All right. Darkbone. Not this. Not this stuff. A3 for the boys. Let's go H6. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. He's been railing the course, but I think based on his moves, you can tell he's been railing the course. 100%. There's been a lot of course railing from Darkbone here. I mean, I guess here? Probably. Go here and see what he wants to do. Make him make a decision. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. All right, all right. Okay. Not sure that actually saves the piece. I was actually expecting perhaps the bishop to show up there. At which point, you know, I was considering taking, moving this rook, but white's no doubt a bit better. Must be. But yeah, this doesn't look like it helps. I have an option of which thing to take. This is definitely one of the easiest. Takes. I'm considering e5, probably knight d5. So yeah, I think just rook takes g6 is best. Yeah, Darkbone I mean, bishop e5, right? I don't know, move too quickly a little bit there. I think this is pretty okay for me though. I think your position was the best right here. So bishop g3 by you was just, even if it somehow like you have some moves that work out for you, I just wouldn't play it. It looks wrong. It doesn't give me a good feeling as white. So like, yeah, you'd have to play this. I move my rook, but black already has a pretty good compensation for the position. So yeah, I think if you move your bishop somewhere else, like even bishop c1, right? Never be afraid of bishop c1 in spots like this, because okay, bishop b2 is actually a great diagonal and your rooks are still connected. So I don't know, maybe bishop c1. There's lots of good moves though. Bishop e3 is probably the most sane. Haven't railed the course yet. I mean, I think you have. You say you haven't, but I think you have. You know, you're got to a pretty good position there. GG's. Coach Casey, good luck. You know what I have to do? I have to rail the course so that I know what people who railed the course are gonna know. So I have to know what they know. I gotta get on their level. Freeze, thanks for 27 months. All right. You know, I never really play this opening, almost ever. But I will play the 4 pawns. Have you guys ever played the 4 pawns attack against the king's, basically king's Indian, modern, depending on how you want to do it? I mean, do we go e5? I really think it's a decent move. So even though my king ends up on d1, I still think this is pretty good. I think if pawn takes that way, then c5 is a little uncomfortable. Yeah, but the reason I like this, I mean, knight g5 should always be a little bit uncomfortable, but I don't think I can do it right away. He's got this, knight d4. Not really a fan. Not really a fan. I assume long castle. Yeah. Knight b4, I'm not that upset. Not that upset about. Hello to Dr. Lord. Yeah, I'm just trying to, ooh, we love that move, I think. All right, well, let's start with this. Casey, can't forget about your damn bishop. Come on, bud. Why do you think I played that? You gotta stop and at least look at the, legal moves next. Must be a football coach. Maybe we should ask him. Senor Suds, thanks for the 16 months. Okay, get developed. Let's guard the pawn. He is a tennis. No, not football, Will, but tennis. You got that one wrong, pal. Maybe this move to... Oh, AC, you can't let yourself get back ranked like that. No habits. Ugh. Ugh. Makes me sick. Oh, will you? Will you, Will? Good luck, Mr. Hudson. Is he Valentinian? Is this still game 3 or what? Game 3, right? But this is very good news. My buddy Wool is in net to win some Val bucks. GG, Coach Casey. Oh, Val, big dub tonight, courtesy of Wool. He has NHL playoff experience. In all honesty, isn't that such an interesting... Like, I'm trying to think of it, but... I'm trying to think of a comparison in chess, somehow, but... If you go to the NHL, you get called up to the NHL, and you play in, like, a playoff game... I can't imagine more pressure than that. Like, that's like peak. And then you like drop down to the AHL and play a game there. It's like, who are these casuals? Like, you guys all suck. I don't think so, Shax. That's a good point. Forgot about that. Like, I would feel that he probably has like a lot of confidence going into those games. It's like, all right, guys. I mean, what are we really doing here? Okay. Not a bad move. Not a good move either. Why does Chad have 1,000 elo? That's a good question. Is it because you're here? Duck me, baby? Do you think that's the case? Because remember, when certain people are in the chat, average rating is probably down. And when certain people are in the chat, the average rating is up. So look into the mirror and really ask yourself, when I join the SlowBrah chat, am I improving the chess level in here or not? And even as a, 1000, you might look at yourself and be like, oh, I'm bringing it down, I suck. But remember, the average is probably a lot worse than that. So even as a 1000, you're probably bringing it up. I'm not sure what the actual average would be, realty money. Actually, let me pull up the stats because I know every single person in chat and I know the average. But I just think there's more people under 1,000 than you think. And there's not a lot of people like 2,000 plus, that's for sure. You wonder how many are above 2,000? Well, let's check. How many people are higher than 2,000 ELO in the chat? Let's just find out real quick. Are we talking rapid, blitz, bullet? Yes, Andrew MJ. We're talking rapid, blitz, and bullet all added together. Do you qualify? You're over 2,000 Airbus? Yeah, I'm in the combined format. Good game, Mr. Hudson. You fell for an opening trap. You fell for an opening trap. I mean, not even like a trap that I'm setting. It's just here you have to be ultra careful. E5 is a little bit sloppy. It's not the end of the game though, but when anyone hits you with this in the opening, I mean, you pretty much need to play this move. It's basically the only defensive resource you have available. Sometimes if your knight's not developed, you could play knight h6, but then this move shouldn't be happening. So in cases like this, the only move you have available is d5, and it must be played. If you don't play d5, you're getting absolutely killed. But obviously, you should be training to never be in this position, so you don't need to play d5, rather than being here and remembering to play d5. But both are important to remember. What was my lowest rating? Oh, you guys are funny. I've never been a pleb, and I've never been low rated. Hilarious questions. Of course I've never been a low rated pleb. I was born into brilliance. Born 2700? Yeah, hyper bullet. All right, a few more. A few more. Where are all the low-rated guys? I think we wiped the floor with them. I don't think I've played this account before. Claren B? Or Saren? It almost looks like the account's name is Serenade. Almost. Thanks for the 500 bits, Giant Space Octopus. Sorry, GSO. Giant Space Octopus is definitely bringing the rating, the average rating up. That's might be the only one doing that. Good move, good move. Would I rather be a low-rated tier 3 or high-rated pleb? Low-rated tier 3 for sure. It's much easier to fix being low-rated than it is to fix being a pleb. Being low-rated is just a place in time, you know? It's just a moment. Easily reversed. Being a pleb is a lifestyle. It's a way of living, and it really defines you as a human being. Much harder to wash that off. The challenge is rated or unrated? I'm not sure. Unrated is always nice. But, people usually find a way to sneak one past me. From time to time. Okay, I'm scared here. I mean, this is also wildly tempting. Because, yeah, it also wins material. Okay, I'm a sucker for the bishop. Hit the queen. Are we on Chess TV? What gave it away, Airbus driver? Out of curiosity. What gave away that we might be on Chess TV? Was it how I'm speaking? Was it how I'm playing chess? Was it the music? Couldn't have been the viewer count, surely. Oh, multiple people watching the stream? Looks like a Chess TV day. Congrats. Oof. I'm gonna get rid of this knight. God bless Chess TV. God bless Chess TV. I'm a greedy guy. I'm gonna take it. What's the Scot gonna do? I go here. That's right, Adam Hart Lover. This may surprise you, fetus, but I've been told that before. I haven't been told that about many things in my life, but chess seems to be popular there. Now, we'd like to see this. Thank you, making my life easier. Making me look good in front of Chess TV. MF Wicks. Thank you for the 4 months. Welcome back. With Prime. Exclamation mark Prime. Oh, what a beautiful thing. This is a pretty fun set always. Maya Jane Coles. My rating got obliterated from Title Tuesday. You guys remember? We got 7 points in the early Title Tuesday and 7 points in the late Title Tuesday, and we got killed. This is why it's like, even though we got 7 points, it wasn't a good 7. It was a really bad 7. I've had better I've had better performances that have ended with like 5 points, 6 points than this. And I think the rating shows. Rating at the end is the issue. All right, Andrew MJ. He claims that he might be 2,000 rated in all categories. Like, when you add them together. Let's see. He was the guy when I asked, like, are you above, how many people are above 2,000 here? And he said, you know, in Blitz, Bullet, or Rapid. And it's like, I think the way our brains are programmed as humans is, you know, maybe to be polite or to inquire further, even if it doesn't apply to us, right? So, for example, let's say that you, an individual, do not play the guitar. You don't play the guitar. And then you're facing this way, and someone behind you goes, "Oh, Dan, whose guitar is this?" Or, "Hey, yo, man, is this your guitar?" Instead of looking straight ahead and saying, "No," which I could do with the utmost certainty, I'll probably go, No. Had a look at it and no, it's not mine. And it reminds me of you guys. It's like, all right, how many people are over 2,000 in the chat? And then you got half the chat going, do you mean Bullet, Blitz, or Rapid? Excuse me, which time control do you mean? Oh, Bullet? Okay, then no. Blitz? No as well. Okay, no to all of them. Okay, no if it was added all together as well. What do you want? Reminds me of you guys. Just confirming a little bit further. Wasn't sure if you were including puzzles. Of course, how could I forget puzzles? But we definitely do that in life. Look for like further confirmation. I definitely know some people, and you guys may be guilty of this as well. And they're like, "Oh, yo, do you want to go like see this movie on Saturday?" And then you start asking questions like, "Oh shit, what's the movie?" Like, "Oh, what time do you want to go? Who's going?" But you could have said no at the beginning because your answer is already no. You don't want to go. You don't want to go. You're just asking. "Oh, tell me about it." Yeah. "Who's going?" Yeah. I mean, no, but tell me. Who's going? What time are you thinking of? What's the time control of the movie? Gotta let them know. I want to know if I can get some, some Lee chess games in the back. Chess.com users have that respect, you know? Don't pull their phone out and play a chess.com game in the theater. That's some Lee chess energy. B5 is definitely a surprising move. That's also correct, Aaron. Sometimes you have the answer as no, for sure, but you don't have you don't have like, well, you know, the burden of proof is on you to display why you don't want to do something. So, right? So it's like, hey, do you want to go to the movie on Saturday? What time is it? It's around 11. I can't go. I have something at 11. Got something at 11. Sorry. You know, you're waiting for some information so that you can latch on to the info and say that it doesn't work for you. Classic. I need some more information so that I can say no. I currently don't have enough information to reject the offer without looking a little bit mean. So I'm going to need more information from you about the offer so that I can reject it properly. Reject it in a way that you will understand. What am I doing at 11? Well, that depends, but Crumb, who's going? Marcy King, thanks for the 16 months with Prime. And 22 months from Hella. This is a bit in a comedy routine. Well, I got another one for you, Pot of Jam. And the reason I have it for you is because of my experience today. The best kind of comedy. So, I'm calling an Uber because I'm going bouldering. And so I go at the meeting place for the Uber, and I'm going to get in, and I see that the Uber is already fully engaged, steam out of ears, in an argument with, guess who? Who would an Uber driver be in an argument with? That's correct, Wild Hacks. A bicyclist. Of course. A goddamn bicycle rider. Of course, a goddamn bicycle rider. Every bicycle rider is just the exact same. All right, so they're in a you know, getting heated discussion. Not heated, but like definitely heated. And the bicycle person is like, you know, there's a bike lane for a reason. Right? And they're getting all like, you're in my bike lane energy. Right? And it's like, great. You're in the bike lane, but you know how roads work, right? If you need to stop at the side of a road to do anything, you know, pick up food, pick up someone waiting for an Uber, even just pull over for a moment, it's like, can you just not do that on any road in the world ever because there's a bike lane? So obviously this happens, and it's like, it's just real life. You just go around the car, or, you know, you whatever. It's poor design by the city, maybe, whatever. But it's not really anyone's fault, the way I see it. But okay, the bike person is like, you're in my bike lane. He's like, I'm just pulled over for like 30 seconds, like just picking someone up. Right? And so that happens. And then the situation diffuses as I get in the car, because I'm like in the car and I'm like, okay, thanks. Like, see you later, biker. And it's like, even after the argument, you can imagine the amount of rage that these two people feel. And the biker, of course, starts cycling away. But the car also needs to go. So the biker is cycling away. The car also needs to drive away. So of course they're going to interact again. Of course they're going to interact again. Oh, why is this a 30-second game? Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. The biker and car obviously have to keep going in the same direction. So of course they're going to interact again, right? And so all they did was prolong their argument until they got to the next light. And the next light's like right there. So all they're doing is arguing with each other again, like while they're driving. And it made me think of the classic comedy bit. It made me think of the classic comedy bit of how it's 2023. And of course, we have everyone identifying as everything these days, right? Everything. You can identify as many, many things in 2023. But I've noticed that the people that feel the most entitled to this privilege are cyclists. Cyclists, when they talk about their bike lane, are all of a sudden cyclists. Cyclists, when they want to go straight and there's no traffic, are all of a sudden a cyclist. When they're in the middle of the road and they need to turn left, they're all of a sudden a car. And it's like they oscillate between being a cyclist and a car. And it's like, you can't do that. I'm a cyclist. And then all of a sudden, when they need to be like a vehicle, they're like, you can't drive by me. I'm a car. I'm entitled to my own lane. And it's like, no one feels more entitled to identify as whatever the actual hell they want to than a cyclist. These people are whatever is the most convenient in a given interaction. Exactly. They're a pedestrian from time to time. They're a cyclist in some moments. They're a 4-wheel truck, 18-wheel truck, 4-wheel car. Like, they're whatever they want to be. Cyclists are crazy. And so anytime I see an interaction with a cyclist, and it's like a kind of disagreement kind of interaction, I always side with the person who's not on the bicycle. As a rule, I don't need to hear anything. As a rule, I side with the person who is not on a bicycle. It's always the right thing to do. And I recommend that to absolutely everyone. The cyclist is never correct, as opposed to the customer who is always correct. That's my story about self-identifying cyclists. And we won a game. Go Shacks. GG, buddy. Does that include unicyclists? Absolutely, Neil. Absolutely. Maybe them more than any. Depends how aggro they are. I'd be willing to say, as a general rule, that the less wheels your cycle has, the less aggro you are as an individual. So perhaps a bit better. Berenzin Chess, thanks for the very long resub there, Berenzin. 93 months. He's identifying for this month as a wool sweater. Thank you, Berenzin. Always appreciate these interactions. Buck81, thanks for the $20. This is for the amazing Time Odds Bullet Checkmate. Let's go. Got it done against Mr. Shax, I believe. Let's take this. Oh, he trapped my bishop. Oh, rats. Gosh darn it. Damn it. I should have thought that through. MLP Twilight. 5 gifted subs. Thank you very much, MLP. Let's obviously continue with this move. You never know when this might happen. And this might happen. And this, and this, and this, and this. Thanks a lot, MLP. I mean, people are talking about MLP like he just got back to the channel right now. MLP has been unbanned. But he always makes an entrance, doesn't he? Oh, damn it, he found a good move. Ah, shucks. He found a goddamn good one, didn't he? All right, all right. Well, my pieces were always going to be lost here. So how can we get the most out of it? How can we extract the most value for our bishop, which is going to be lost? Here takes... Of course, we can take a pawn. Just wonder if that's the... Is that the best we can do? I think the best we can do might be to take the pawn. All right, I'm sold. Queen a4 is no good. In fact, it may end up trapping my queen. Good night, Airbus driver. Thank you for listening to my Wednesday comedy routine featuring 2023 cyclists and whatever we talked about before that. Hella, thanks again for the 22 months, bud. No more names, 68 months. You're almost there as well. You weren't the first 68 monther today. Thanks to MLP for the quick Cinco. Shaq's following suit. 5 gifted subs. Easium, 6 months with Prime. Thank you very much. Was the hairdryer debate ever settled? No. We were just collecting more information, you know? No, you're 100% correct, G-Cobb. As with anything, like just about anything in life, right? It's never absolutes. So obviously, not every cyclist has that attitude. Not every Uber driver has that attitude. But, oh wow, what a move. What a move there, big feller. However, the cyclists that, you know, are in the right, they still need to be sided against so that they understand what their fellow cyclists are doing for them. You know, it's because of their own people that they get treated that way. They need to shape the whole image of cyclists. They need to be better as a unit. They need to learn. It's necessary. And it's going to take some cruel words. Let's get rid of this. Where's the mate? Yeah. That looks like it. There we go. Suin, GG. Good game. Shax is back. But Shax, this time it's a Blitz game, right? You're a different person when you play Blitz, right? So this is not the same guy that got checkmated in 3 seconds. This is a different person. Killer Nico 09, thanks for the brand new Prime sub. Toronto is behind with their bike infrastructure. I mean, I would tend to agree. I haven't seen other... I mean, how is it in New York City, Wild Hacks? As a cyclist yourself. Do you have any interactions to share with us as you've been cycling over the years? Riding a bike on smooth pavement is... that's a special feeling. Everyone does deserve that feeling in their life, at least once. You love hauling ash on your e-bike. So hang on, your e-bike. Can you elaborate on that? When you say e-bike, are you saying that... are these like the bikes that the Uber Eats guys have? And you're saying you personally just have one? You built it yourself. Oh, God. Yeah, okay. I think you win. Built it yourself. Wow. Definite Chad behavior. Urban, did you see my video on YouTube recently? Urban Pope, you're asking about self-identifying. When will a male identify as a female and win the Women's World Championship? Didn't you see my YouTube video? I was talking about that exactly. Because there was somebody in Kenya who dressed up as a woman and wore a burqa and a niqab. And tried to win money there. In the women's section. You should look at the video. Did they win? They won some games. They lost. They didn't succeed. They won some games, and then they actually lost the game. There's pressure on both of these. Kind of hard to save, actually. Yes, is this pawn structure theory. I think it's a great pawn structure. I mean, it's actually perfect. I have such a solid structure. I have an e4 square for my pieces, and I have this pawn to stop my opponent from using e5. So it's quite literally, it might be the best pawn structure you could possibly have. Especially against Stonewall setup. Which is why when I did my Stonewall series, I said never ever allow this. This is absolutely avoid like the plague. That's correct, Pillow Pants. And to me, I do enjoy that aspect of it. Like, you dress up like a woman, compete in the women's section because you think your impression, whatever, is that it's going to be super easy. You're going to crush, like it's going to be nothing. And what ends up happening is you just lose. Like, you just lose on the board. I mean, I think that's very funny. It is very similar to the concept of like somehow faking a disability and getting into the Special Olympics. And then the 100-meter race comes or something, and you don't even win. Like, lads are just flying by you or something. Exclamation mark ads. Man, people have been talking about, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Why is everyone talking about ads all of a sudden? Like, it's actually kind of stress. Like, I'm not playing them. I'm looking at trying to find articles or something. Like, I haven't found anything. It's like stressing me out. I was like, I thought I was the one administering all the ads around here. Now I see you guys are just getting ads without my say. Damn. Thought those were my goodies to hand out. This is like Halloween when, instead of me being at the door, dishing it out one by one, rationing, there's just a bucket outside and everyone's diving in. All right, I think I'm, thanks for the games there, Shax. I think I'm gonna play some slow chess for our slow chess enjoyers. A few SlowBrah games. Yes, I'm a SlowBrah myself. I went bouldering today, so like, I'm just not very competitive right now. I'm also not very competitive every Tuesday for a very specific 2-hour window in the morning and in the afternoon. But other than that, I'm not very competitive right now. My hands hurt, so I feel like playing some slow games. What grades do I normally climb? I guess I used to do it a little bit more. I stopped bouldering when I was training for the boxing because I just can't do both. So that kind of set me back a bit. And I don't really like the gym I go to, and I don't really like gyms in general that use ranges. It's just like you're trying to make too many people happy. It's like, tell me if I'm doing a V2. Tell me if I'm doing a V3 or a V4. I'm not interested in this like, oh my goodness, congratulations. You did a V2 to V9. It's like, okay, that means nothing to me. Like, great. Congratulations, you're either really good or really bad at climbing. Way to go. It's like, it's so stupid. So, big non-fan of that. But I used to climb, and probably now climb somewhere between, probably at a V4 level, I would say. But I've done a few V5s before in the gym, so I guess it just depends on the gym, and that's when I was climbing a lot more. All right, let's take challenge out. Exclamation mark, slow. Yes, that's what it's all about. Slow games. All right, let me switch accounts here. Thanks for the warm-up, guys. Real helpful. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Suin. The best warm up for a slow game at like 400 or 500 elo is warming up by playing the chat. I mean, that's the best possible simulation. So I'm feeling good right now. Do I accept challenges for the slow? No, not for the slow one, MLP. For just challenges like that, I mean, just send in the challenge. That's why I have, or I used to have, just changed it, ! challenge in the title. It just pops up a link, which is like a direct challenge to me. But for these like series that I do, I just never take challenges. I always want to jump in the pool and get who we get. Yeah, I know what you mean, Fetus. I've looked as well. I've looked as well, which has been more satisfying for me. But still, on principle, I don't like the idea of not displaying it for everyone. I know why they do it, and I see both sides of it, but I'm just like a big non-fan of that. It's like some people in chess, there's a function. I don't know if anyone here uses it. So if you use it, I'm about to tell you that I don't think it's a good idea. Some people, and everyone's different. Some people like to use focus mode. Focus mode means that you play your game and you don't know the rating of your opponent. It's like it hides it for you. And then you're like, you're not intimidated by your opponent. You don't know their strength, so always play your best chess. No. No. Right? Because some people in tournaments in real life, they might go to the pairing sheet, see they're playing a GM, and get scared, nervous, second guess themselves, play the worst game of chess ever. I don't know. But the point of it is like, don't look at your opponent's rating. Pretend that your opponent is a good player and just expect good moves from them. It's like, hell no. If I'm playing Valentinian, I want to know I'm playing Valentinian. If I'm playing a 200, that queen's gone on move 2. So I want to know for sure. There is no way you're hiding the names. It doesn't make any sense. I got to know for sure. So I've had the opportunity to BM someone at the end of the game. I gotta know exactly who I'm doing it to. You know what I mean? I can't be like sacking my queens and like going for like the bishop and knight checkmate against like Vladimir Kramnik. Like, he's gonna send someone after me. Oli, thanks for the 5 subs. Thanks for the quick Cinco. Thankfully, I would never be in a position to do that, so we don't have to worry. But I just think it's so stupid. Oof. TH Toaster, thanks for the 31 months, tier 3. Olik, again, appreciate the 5 subs from you, buddy. There's been some good energy today. Squibs5, 17 months. Ned Mundo 02 with a brand new sub with Prime. Thanks, Ned. And Mason Lee Burton, 15 months. Welcome back. I actually played him recently, Wild Hacks. I don't know if you know that. In a Title Tuesday. I got crushed. Like, he dismantled me. I shouldn't say that. Like, it wasn't a terrible game by me, but I never had a chance. It was pretty methodical by him. And so, no, I've just never even had a position close to where I could even consider getting the oh no emote ready. So, no, not even close. He oh-no'd me. He could have. He actually could have. But no, I don't believe he did. I was let off the hook. Tabar Jack is getting destroyed right now. There's... What do you mean, lose the queen on move 2? It's like... There are so many ways to lose the queen on move 2. Right. So 2 moves. 2 moves. 2 moves. 2 moves. 2 moves. 2 moves. Like, there's really a lot of ways, my friend. You're gonna have to pick a different hill to die on. All right, I have a puzzle for you guys so that you can all think about it while I play my slow game. But because I know that a lot of people in the chat are, shall we just say, extremely talented, this puzzle is not one that the engine will help you with at all. So this is it. So the puzzle is very simple. It's more of a composition. There are some puzzles where it's like, make a position where on move 5, black has no queen and white's missing 3 pawns. You know, these type of things. And obviously the example I just gave is extremely simple, but you can make them so that they're fairly complicated. All right, so the idea, and this doesn't have to be a game that actually has a conclusion. It's not like, oh, the game has to end with a checkmate. No, it's just reach a position where the following criteria is satisfied. Okay, so this one is going to be as follows. And you guys can think about this while I'm doing my, while I'm playing the games here. And I'm curious if anyone solves it. So the idea is that you guys have to create a game between white and black, and you are the, you know, the puppeteer, so you can choose the moves for both sides, obviously. You have to create a game, and on white's 8th move, so white makes the 8th move, no 8th move from black, you have a position where there are no black pawns on the chessboard. That's it. Very simple. On white's 8th move, there are no black pawns on the chessboard. Good luck. All right, so the puzzle is create a game between white and black where white makes the 8th move, and in that position, there are no black pawns on the board. Are you asking us to commit digital whiteface? I feel like you joke, Neil, but we may be only like 6 months out from that reality. Can it be done? Of course. What do you mean? Of course. I scam you. I don't lie to you. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to continue with some slow games here. You guys can think about it. 15 minutes, 10-second increment. I think we're what? 462. All right. So we're going to look for another game here. The whole point of the series is that I'm not playing the exact same opening all the time. Going to mix it up. So I'll be taking some suggestions from you guys in the chat. So let me know what openings you'd like to see. And particularly after I get my game here, we'll see if I'm white or black, and that will give us a better idea. All right. 15 minutes, 10-second increment. All right, we got the black pieces against e4. What are you guys feeling? What opening shall we do? Okay, let's start with e5 for now. See a lot of suggestions. Obviously, we're going to have so many games in this series. The opening that you're after will definitely be played. So don't worry about that. All right. The wayward queen attack. And you know what? This is a 400 elo classic. It really is. Queen h5. I truly hope that I can use this game as, you know, a little bit of an example as to how to deal with this opening. Because let's be honest, guys, this is an incredibly common response to e5. Like, white playing queen h5 here or against c5 and just in general, but definitely against e4, e5. This is so common. It really is. And it's not really good. It's not awful if white knows what to do, but I'll tell you one thing. Someone at 400, 500 elo is not playing this move because they know 10 moves of theory. They're playing it because they can mate you in like 2 more moves and that's it. So our e-pawn's under attack. Don't do anything except defend that pawn, first of all. So let's do that. Knight c6, defend the pawn. Quite important. The first mistake you can make is just not even realizing that's an attack and already focusing on that. Don't focus on that yet. It's not a threat. Focus on that. That's the real threat. d4 looks like a blunder, but before we take it, let's take advantage of that queen and play knight f6. This is the actual reason why you do not bring the queen out early, because the lower value pieces, pawns, knights, they can all attack the queen. And I mean, look how much time my opponent is losing. Now I'm going to take this free center pawn, attack the queen once more. Queen c3, and already my opponent has lost their queen. And it's remarkable how it happens that way. In just 1, 2, and 3 more moves, my opponent's already lost the queen. All from this queen h5 thing. And queen h5, to white's credit, it actually does beat a lot of people and cause a lot of people trouble, but it's really a, you know, one ply kind of idea. The first thing we want to do is guard our pawn in the center. I actually expected bishop c4 there, which would have made a checkmate in 1 threat. And then we would just need to deal with that diagonal. The queen here and the pawn here, I would probably play something like g6. But we didn't even see that. My opponent just like brought the queen out, hung a bunch of pawns, moved the queen a bunch of times, and okay, obviously bishop b4 is a slightly advanced tactic, but it's a good motif to know. Bishop b4 and knight c2. You know, I called this account SlowBrah, but these games are actually finishing quicker than my Blitz games. It helps that people usually disconnect and they don't actually continue the games. Poor guys. But they gotta learn. You can't be playing queen h5 and this type of nonsense. We got a minute left on Buddy to return here. You have an 8-move challenge solution? Sure, yeah. If anyone has a solution to my my puzzle, throw it in here. Chess Tim. Kind of a cool solution, but wrong, right? What was my very specific... what were my very specific instructions? I said that white's 8th move, aka no 8th move from black. So that is insufficient. Obviously, I like your thinking, but yeah, that's not correct. Hey, we got the win here. I mean, look, I'm just a vessel for this information. I'm just a vessel. Right? People play queen here because they want to mate you here. And they're trying to take this pawn immediately. So a very common blunder is people play g6 because they're just immediately scared of the queen, right? But then, of course, queen takes e5 and you immediately regret life, you know, life itself. Knight f6 is another common one because it hangs the pawn, but just you don't do anything except defend the pawn. And bringing a knight out is a fantastic way to do it. So bring the knight out. Most people will play bishop c4 because they want to mate you, right? And then you just throw your pawn up. Like this. g6, hit the queen, and go from there, right? Now the queen is going to go back, probably to that square. And they're probably going to threaten mate again. And now it's time to bring your knight out. To block the queen and bishop. You just don't ever let the queen and bishop attack your pawn. There's one final move, which is maybe common to hit that pawn. If you really want to be safe here, just play queen e7 and guard the pawn. But obviously, if you're feeling frisky and you remember what you're doing here, knight d4, even if you lose the pawn, there's no follow-up move, and the queen has to stay guarding the bishop. So this is just completely lost for white. Queen c4 to try to stay guarding it. b5 hits the queen, and you see how this queen cannot remain on that diagonal. I mean, you can check, but you lose the bishop, and if you take e5, you lose your rook as well. It's just a disaster for white. So, all this to say, just watch this pawn. Your first move of the game is about defending e5. Every other move you play is about being careful of this. In this case, it's being targeted by two sides, two diagonals. Take one of them away. In this case, there's two alleyways here. Notice how the bishop is the toughest one to block. You can't really do it. So you're always looking to block the queen's access to f7. And from here, like I said, you just pay attention. Remember, knight d4 always works. And queen e7 is also super safe and very strong. That's pretty much all you need to know. People play d4. It's like, okay, knight f6, hit the queen. Knight d4, hit the queen, and then bishop b4 is a very strong move. It wins the queen, this nice little tactic there, but, you know, it's only a few things to memorize. Queen h5 is very annoying, but it should only be annoying for a few games, hopefully less, and then you should be happy to see it. You want to be at the point with your chess where people play queen h5, and you're like, thank God this idiot played queen h5. Not, oh my God, I'm going to get mated. We have some solutions. All right, I just wanted to get through that explanation. What are our solutions? What do we have? No solutions? I missed them. I have to post them again. Shirts are rare. Thanks for the 35 months. Oh, thank you, Wild Hacks. What's this? Okay, d4, e5, he takes e5, d6, queen takes d6, f5, queen takes c7, f4, queen b7, f3, queen a7, takes here, here, and here. Correct. And you'll probably notice that there are many ways for such a thing to happen, because you could also play d5 and achieve the same thing. I think the main principle is that there are 3 pawns. First of all, if you try to just go like this and collect all the pawns, even if you kind of do it differently, like I'm trying to think of like a way like this. You know, I'm trying to think of a way to get rid of all these pawns, but basically if you use the queen, you'll notice that it's quite literally impossible to get rid of them all in 8 moves, because obviously it takes you 1-2 moves to even get your queen out, or 1-2 moves to even get your queen out, and then how are you going to take 8 pawns in the remaining 6 moves? So you need to understand that these are the bad pawns because they're all near the king, so they'll all be check if you take them. So black definitely has to move all 3 of these pawns. You have to. That's the first thing you need to understand. If you don't move these pawns, you stand no chance because white's going to have to take them with check. So that's a very clear start. So this there, and then yeah, this pawn needs to move so white queen can get involved and start taking, and then you use the other pawn to go and make a queen like that. And it's also important that you take this way and not this way, because that would be a check, and you wouldn't have time to take the last pawn. Anyway, it's not supposed to be the most challenging puzzle in the world, but maybe you guys got some fun out of it. That's 100% the answer. Nice job there. Who is that? Becky or something? Yeah, Becky. Nice job. What's the quest? The quest is over. It was just a fun little like retrograde puzzle. I think there's like an origin to these puzzles. I'm trying to remember. The first one I saw was something about making a legal position. So let's say, here, I have to like put it off the board so that I can try to set it up. Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, so it's 13 moves. This was the original puzzle that's like very similar. And the puzzle goes... The puzzle is quite simply that you need to make this position in 13 moves. That's the puzzle. And again, I don't think these are ever like the most challenging. These aren't the most challenging to achieve, but they do make you think outside the box. But they're fun. They get you thinking. How do you make this in 13 moves? There you go. This is the first puzzle that I saw that was ever like this. Oh, Caliber. Yes. I was about to say the same thing. We were just analyzing some of your talented games. Very strong player. All right, let's go for another game. All right, let me know what opening we should play for this next one. Oh, we got the white pieces. How should we start? Play d4 and see what he does. d5. What shall we do? All right, we'll go c4. Just keep it simple, just like a standard Queen's Gambit. Standard Queen's Gambit. It could be accepted, declined, Slav, could be semi-Slav with both. The one thing that players, I think, don't properly understand is that, in my opinion, white is actually levying a pretty serious threat, which is pawn takes pawn. I know it doesn't look like much, but if the queen takes back, the knight comes out with tempo, I get the whole center, easy development. It's like, it's quite a big deal. And so a lot of people even play knight f6. They play knight f6, take, and then you still go e4. You get the entire center. So I would put this move in the same exact category, the one that was just played. Any move that does not defend this pawn with a pawn, I think is a mistake. Of course, you could take the pawn, that's a different story. But yeah, this is... it is a variation, but I'm just saying, like, at 400... I'm not buying into bishop f5. So let's see what he does after takes, because while bishop f5 is a variation, I almost only see strong players play it, because you really have to know what you're doing in order to make something like this work. But maybe Dan Risky is our guy. Yeah, this is a little more expected, I guess. And this is why I say, I mean, you should never start this way. Always have pawns that you can take back. Knight to f6, bishop to f5, knight c6. Like any of these kind of moves that don't defend the pawn. I mean, if I get to play moves like knight c3 in my chess games, I'm going to be very happy. So I wonder what he's going to do here. The definitely the point of this line is, I suppose, to treat it a little bit like a almost like Scandinavian, which is kind of what it feels like. But there's going to be things like e4, queen b3 that I think are tough to deal with here. So first thing I'm looking at is queen b3 because it makes a threat. Next thing I'm looking at, I mean, of course I always have moves like knight f3. Very simple development. Very simple development. But bishop d2 comes to mind, maybe threatening the move e4, which I do like. Bishop d2 almost guarantees me the move e4 as well. Seems to guarantee it because if the bishop takes, I can take back and I hit the queen. So what I mean is if I go bishop there and my opponent replies like that, I can still play e4. Right? So I'm looking at this, and I'm also fairly interested in queen b3. So those are the two moves that I'm looking at here. Bishop d2 is kind of nice. Queen b3, how's he going to defend? b6 is not good. So then I would say queen b3 is worth it. Then I'll be very happy. If queen b3, queen b6 perhaps. But in those positions, we can always play e4 anyway. So I'm going to play queen b3. I think it's like kind of annoying, maybe quite annoying for my opponent. But know that bishop d2 and e4, I think it's a very, very good plan as well. It's nice that it also eyeballs that square, but maybe that won't be so relevant for now. Knight c6, I mean, queen b7. Knight c6 is an interesting move because you're not actually stopping anything I'm doing. So if your queen is on d8, you're guarding your rook, and then queen takes b7 can sometimes be met by a knight move. Knight b4, knight takes d4, because your rook's protected. But in this case, whenever the two pieces are like this and the rook's not protected, I mean, queen b7 is just going to win material, right? I'm hitting the knight and I'm hitting the rook on a8, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So yes, you can move the knight, but you'll lose this with check. So, queen b7 was my threat, and I don't see it being stopped. So I'm going to continue. But yeah, a8 hanging and c6 hanging, and both of them are with check, which is slightly important. So when you think about what opening we're playing here, we're essentially playing a Scandinavian, right? e4 takes on d5, queen takes queen a5. I'm playing a Scandinavian, except it's the c pawn instead of the e pawn, right? Which is a very big deal. And that allows, with no c pawn, that allows my queen to go to b3. Everything's good here, right? Everything is a better version of the main line. Now, obviously, this move is a little bit of a blunder, I'm not gonna lie. That is a rough move. He guards his knight, does not guard his rook, and he knows that's not a safe square, or he should, because he was already on that square. I attacked him and he moved, so it's definitely not safe to return. And with more things falling, this is looking pretty destructive. Yeah. Poor Dan. Poor Dan. Feels bad for Dan. Played a little too risky. Ouch. Shouldn't I take the rook first? Well, I don't like taking the rook and then the queen comes back to defend. So, no, I think you gotta get that queen off while you can. But yeah, no, I don't recommend any move other than these two here. I mean, you could take, but I don't even recommend that, giving away the center. You're not gonna have a good time. You really aren't. Like, this is such a difference. Having a pawn in the center, a stake, a claim to some of these central squares. People do this, and look what happens. It's like you control nothing here. Same thing with the queen. I don't know. Well, this one you could play, but even still, I don't like this. I mean, I'm just going to defend my pawn and then bring the knight in. This is not something anyone except a very strong player should play. Same for this line. This is actually a variation, right? This is a variation. It's actually not a bad one, but is it a good one for a 400? No, it's awful. It's so bad. You should not be playing this at 400. It breaks a lot of opening principles. And whenever you see a strong player do something that you've been told not to do, it's because they've already learned the basics, the fundamentals, the habits. They know how to play chess at a high level, which is why they can break a few rules. And they know they're breaking the rules when they're doing this. So, yeah, bishop f5 is also not a good move. Queen takes d5, knight, and then you're just playing like I said, you're just playing Scandinavian, which is not good to do, right? Scandinavian, but I've got the c pawn instead of the e pawn that I've given up. So I've given up a wing pawn instead of a center pawn, which means I am going to have a claim to the center in this game. So a little bit tough from Dan Risky. But if anyone's watching, I maintain, if someone sort of tempts you with a gambit like this, a basic one, just a queen's gambit, just solidify the center with a pawn. It's a very important thing to do. We see how quickly things went downhill. I mean, from like reasonable to slightly inconvenient to having to move the queen again to lost in, you know, less than 10 moves. And remember that this game, you can truly say, is less about me being, way less about me being a GM and more about him being a 400. Some games, it's like the guys actually play super well and I'm able to outclass them or find a tactic that they miss. But in this case, unfortunately, Dan Risky just lost way too much material, kept blundering free things. So I didn't like his opening. And then, of course, the queen not going to safe squares. But I don't point that out to say, haha, look at Dan. I actually point that out to say, even if Dan kept his same level, if he just fixed the opening, none of this would happen. None of it. Like, if he just plays the move e6, he wouldn't even put himself in the positions that he's putting himself in where he's blundering a lot. So he would blunder less by just fixing the opening because he's putting himself in these very loose positions where stuff is just hanging on move 3, 4, 5. It's not the way you want to play. All right. Perhaps one more game. Rockwit, thanks for the brand new sub there. Welcome to the channel, buddy. Let's go for one more. Let me know what we should play. Hey, we got the white pieces again. Let's go for e4, see what he does, and we'll see what we want. What do we want to go for? What do we think? All right, we'll go knight f3. Seems like a good starting move. And we played a bishop c4 game. I'll go bishop b5. I think bishop c4 at lower elos is much more destructive. The games can end a lot faster. But I'm going to go bishop b5. Ruy Lopez. The thing about the Ruy Lopez is you're not going to get things like, you know, completely winning positions in the Ruy Lopez out of the opening usually. Like, for example, I got someone playing the Berlin against me at 500. Does he really know everything there is to know about the Berlin? We'll find out. Do I know everything there is to know about the Berlin? Definitely not. So we've castled. Now he's gone a6 and takes on e5 is extremely tempting. The one thing that I will say is that people, they do not know. I truly think this is the case. They do not know when the e-pawn is actually hanging for black. So let me know if that sounds like it's the exact same thing that your brain is saying right now. But you guys are maybe familiar after watching other people play it, strong players. It's in the World Championship. People leave this pawn hanging because it looks like you just take the knight and win the pawn. But, you know, it's like 60% of the time, the pawn is not actually hanging. Like, you go to take it and it just equalizes and like, oops, you shouldn't have taken it. Or it's not actually hanging, dude. But the other 40% of the time, it is hanging. And you have to be careful not to do that. So I feel like there is a very large demographic, a very big amount of people who don't actually know for what reasons the pawn is defended and for what reasons the pawn is not defended. And it makes playing the Ruy Lopez from either side quite difficult because you don't really know what you're looking for. You don't know, like, am I supposed to be doing this, this, and this so that I'm threatening to take the pawn? Once you know what goes into the pawn being protected or indirectly protected, so it's not actually there to take, then you know exactly what to be careful of. But this, for example, this is an example where I'm a little concerned for my opponent. Number one, he's taken with the B pawn instead of the other way with the D pawn. But the reason that I'm concerned is this move. Now, rook e1 to hit the knight, it's all well and good. I'm a little more concerned in this position that if I attack the knight, it'll return to c5 and go to e6. I can't have that. So the first move I need to do is rook e1. I'm pinning the knight. There's no way my opponent can remove both of these pieces from the e-file. It's impossible, not in one move. And my next move is going to be pawn here. So we're winning a piece here already. That's how quickly it happens in the Ruy Lopez. After the game, I'm going to go over, I think, a few important and basic points about when is the e-pawn defended, when is it not, and hopefully it helps. But for now, we can at least appreciate that that was clearly a situation where the e-pawn was hanging. So yeah, d3. I mean, this definitely hurts. But he can still make a game out of this. He's only gonna be down a piece, and he does get to take it back. You know, I wonder if he's gonna support it like that, or how he's gonna get the bishop back, because he still can't castle, and castling that way does not look good. Open B file. So yeah, this is the intention. Knight c3 next as well. G6, so we see what my opponent's interested in. Clearly, it's bishop to G7. And then castle, which honestly makes a lot of sense. It really does. The unfortunate part about G6 and going bishop g7 is it's a little bit slow and it's very weakening. And after the pawn takes back here, my opponent is, I mean, he's got double pawns. They're doubled and isolated. He's down a piece. And the only piece developed is the queen. We're on move 10 and the only piece developed is the queen. Of course, that's the nature of the position, but it is a pretty big mistake. So a move like queen d4 with a couple threats here. I'm going to play rook takes e4 and queen takes h8, and that's off the back of the move g6. So this is quite punishing for black to see because it's really made possible because of g6. And pawn to c5 does not really do anything about this. So let's go ahead and take that in the corner. I know it's tempting to try to win the queen, but a free rook is insanely valuable, and I'm not really going to ever win the queen because of bishop e6. So I'd rather focus on bishop h6 here. f5. There's a good looking move from my opponent. I'm going to continue with this bishop and bring it to h6. There's a pin there, so look, even if I end up playing this and we trade everything on that square, trade a bishop and a queen for a bishop and a queen, that's in my favor because I'm up, what, a rook and a knight? My opponent only will have a bishop and a rook left, and I'll have 2 rooks and 2 knights. So I'm going to have an extra piece and an extra rook. Knight c3, rook d1. Those are all the moves on my mind. If pawn takes knight at any point, obviously my opponent's losing their queen. But at this moment, queen takes f8 would be the much stronger move. Okay, so this is an example of this move actually being possible, right? Pawn takes there. I think I can actually, play a move like this. And I'm trying to remember, has that king moved? And I think the answer is actually no. The king is not moved, right? Which means long castle is possible. Then the rook will end up on d8. And then if I take this, there's rook takes, which will gain time attacking my queen. So I'm actually not very interested in that. I'm going to start by taking, seemingly forcing the queen to take. And even if I trade the queens there, like I said, I'm up a rook and a knight. It's a lot. We can open up the game review here, but the reason that I want to look at this game review is actually to show you guys about that pawn in the beginning. I think that's what ultimately we need to get from this game is when is the pawn hanging? So first of all, this is the Berlin, right? Knight f6, that's the Berlin. Most people don't play the Berlin. Most people play a6. So when you play a6, I mean, this is just basically the main line of the Ruy Lopez. You play a6. Now, if white takes, this is the most classic situation. Is the pawn hanging here? Now, definitely the answer is no. If you take the pawn, it's indirectly defended from a clever idea that black can do. And you could do it in any which way you like, but queen d4 is the most direct. You attack the knight and you attack the pawn. So you win the pawn back immediately. So it's not hanging. And that should be obvious because why would a6 be literally the main line, right? Why would knight f6 be the Berlin if you could just walk in and take this? Of course not. So a6, this is not a threat. Of course, you can still play bishop takes knight as white. It's a great line. But no, you're not winning a pawn right away. So you would castle or something. Right? And now maybe we're looking at winning the e-pawn. Now, here's a question which should benefit your learning. Why is white threatening to take on e5 now? For example, why are all the top engine moves f6, bishop g4, queen e7, queen f6, bishop d6? Why is white threatening to take the pawn now? Yes, the king is no longer on e1. So that should already be a notch registering in your brain that when white castles, all of a sudden that pawn sort of becomes hanging. Not every time white castles, but that when you castle, the idea is that pawn hangs because what was black previously relying on? Let's just make a random move to show. Oh, they were using this trick, right? But now white can just go back, and because the e-file is wide open, direct line to the king, e4 cannot be taken, and rook e1 wins the queen. So the pawn is now hanging after white castles. Right? Now, if white castles in this position, already black should be thinking, okay, it's time to defend this pawn. Let me show you something else. For example, let's say in this case here, let's say they don't take. Let's say white goes back, right? Instead. Or let's say actually white takes. And instead of castling, white does something different. Let's say white goes d3. In this case, why are black's top moves f6, bishop d6, bishop g4, queen d6, queen e7? Why is the pawn hanging now? Ah, yes. Thank you. This might seem ultra basic, but I promise you, people don't understand this. The pawn is defended. Now, the pawn is not just defended by a knight or something. The pawn is defended by like the best possible thing it could be defended by, which is another pawn. Meaning, when that queen comes down here, for this tactic, once again, it's no longer a tactic. Knight f3, and guess what? You can't even take. So we've already established two big reasons that you should always keep in your head for when this pawn is hanging. It's hanging when the e-pawn is defended, and it's hanging when white is castled. Okay, now let's look at it from the other perspective. Let's say in this case, we do exactly like the game. Knight f6, this is my game that I just played. Let's say that I take, or actually we could castle, right? And now after castling, black, let's just say they played the move bishop to e7. Now, why is the e-pawn not hanging here? Because I thought we just said when white castles, the pawn is hanging. So why is the e-pawn not hanging here? For example, like this. Why is it not hanging? If your answer to why this pawn is not hanging is that this pawn is hanging, then you're very, very wrong. And you need to fix that thought process. Because if this bishop was there and I took your pawn and you took my pawn, you would be screwed. That would be very similar to what happened in my game. I would bring my rook here and you'd be dead along the e-file. The reason that it's not working is actually because of this bishop. Nothing to do with the fact that the pawn on e4 is hanging. The bishop is the reason that it's fine to take it. Because when I go rook e1, this simply doesn't matter anymore. This is not relevant because there's a bishop in the way and black's about to castle. It's completely safe. For example. So from both sides, this is something that we're going to start paying attention to. Now we know that in order for this pawn to be hanging, d3 has to be played or castle. But if we're castled, that's also not enough. We also have to check if the e-file is open. So if we're castled, but our opponent's bishop on e7 is on e7, then guess what? It's probably not hanging. But let's say we castle, our opponent plays bishop e7, and we play d3. Well, when you see d3, this kind of is like the trump card. Once you see d3, e4 is protected for sure. Every single time d3 is on the board, that pawn is 100% hanging. That's a guarantee. So then it's time to do something about that. And that's why you'll see in this position, black's only move that's reasonable according to the engine is d6. Because now it is just like an imperial mandate to defend that pawn as black. No other move is sufficient here except d6. You need to defend it. Because now, not only is white castled, okay, you parried that, but d3 has been played. Now e4 is clearly protected. Or now e4 is clearly protected. So you can go ahead and apply these things to a very basic Ruy Lopez position that a strong player might play and try to understand why these guys are not concerned leaving a pawn on e5 hanging for like 20 moves. For example, one of the main lines of the Ruy Lopez is with a6, bishop a4, right? Knight f6. Now in this position, as soon as white plays d3, black cannot casually play a move like this because the same thing is going to happen. e5 is hanging because e4 is now defended with the pawn. Let's play the move knight c3, and black plays the move bishop e7. Now, we've got our pawn defended, so we're going to take on c6 and win the pawn. Well, here you go. This is another example of why the pawn is not hanging. Black has a very sneaky trap, a sneaky tactic. Knight takes e4, and the queen comes out to d4 again, this time forking the two knights. And surprisingly, think as hard as you want, you aren't actually able to save both of them. Very strange. And you aren't even able to sacrifice one of them and get a pawn back. You'll actually lose in that case. So, is the e-pawn being defended by a pawn or a knight or a queen the exact same thing? No. The pawn being defended by another pawn means 100% it is time for black to defend the e-pawn. But if they defend it with a knight, that's not necessarily the case. As I just outlined, black can actually play bishop e7. And a good player will probably play bishop e7, knowing that they have this trick available. So once again, the pawn is not up for grabs. But if you saw the move d3 here, then absolutely it would be time to do something about that. You would now need to defend this pawn. Now, in this position, let's say white castle. This is actually still the main line. Bishop e7, we already talked about this. The pawn is not hanging because the bishop's on e7, right? So bishop e7. And now white could do any number of moves, but let's say rook e1. Rook e1, after we're castled, once we're castled, we could defend with knight c3. We could defend with rook e1. As soon as the pawn is defended and white's castled, guess what? It's time to defend e5 once again. So now the pawn's defended, which is why in this position, you will always see b5. You'll always see d6. b5 is indirectly defending this pawn, of course, because it's leaving the knight there and preventing bishop c6. So these are the only two moves that black can really play. The only moves. So in case you're wondering why the move order of the Ruy Lopez is the way that it is, this is the answer. There are certain things that both players, once you're at a higher level, both players fully understand about this opening, which is there is a certain amount of things that need to be true for this pawn to be hanging. There's also a certain amount of things that need to be true for the pawn to be defended. Both sides, if they're aware of all these things, can use them when they're thinking about what moves they want to do. As white, you're thinking, oh, am I castled? Is my pawn defended on e4? Then I'm ready to take on e5. As black, you're thinking about those things. Can I leave my pawn hanging another move? So that's it. That's what both sides are thinking about in their heads, or maybe not thinking about because it's second nature and they've already studied it for so long. That's what they're thinking about when they're playing the first 5 to 6 moves of Ruy Lopez theory. Now, what did my opponent do in my game? Knight f6, castles, a6. Guess what? There's no bishop on e7, and my king is castled, so I know that the rook is going to go to e1 with devastating effect. Did I calculate this and try to work out whether it was actually good for me? No, I didn't calculate it. I just know. I know the principles that I just told you, and I literally just said, okay, there's no bishop there. It's a wide open file. I'm castled. I can take it. And I just thought about that, and then I did it. And that's why I won a pawn. My opponent surely wants to even the score by getting a pawn back, and as a result, ends up losing the game very quickly as well. Rant over. Hopefully that wasn't too basic. It's driving me nuts. People see the Ruy Lopez in every world championship match. They see every top player play it. The Berlins in like every single game. It's the most studied opening on earth. And people still have no clue when their e-pawn can be taken and when it's actually defended, directly or indirectly. And it's crazy. It's like 2 or 3 things on a checklist. That's it. It's really not that difficult. But if you never bother to look into it or no one ever told you, then I guess you'll never know. When your prime reactivates, it's mine. Big Floppa fan 47. I'll hold you to that. I'm a grandmaster, remember. I got a good memory. Thank you. Why, thank you, Mr. Darkbone. Was d5 playable? Well, two-way path. In order for me to convey a concept as basic as this to everyone in chat and really get you to understand what it's all about, I can't possibly handle like certain advanced moves that are potentially also playable that gambit a pawn, but the gambit is actually okay because you're a high-rated player who's studied the gambit line, and it's, you know, it's like I don't have time for all that. So, yes, I'm sure there's a lot of like, well, actually, Amon, there's one position on planet Earth where this move is playable and the criteria is not fulfilled. And it's like, okay. I'd rather teach 99% of you a very basic concept about when the e5 pawn is hanging or not, and anger the 1% of you who might know a rare exception in one line on planet Earth. But that's just a risk I'm willing to take. Latinum Blonde, thanks for the quick Cinco. Cheers, Latinum. It's very nice, very nice donation. Bit of support, appreciate it. As always, Latinum. Did I see the Man City game today? No, I heard they crushed. I thought they would as well. But I don't really follow soccer too much. It's really tough. In NA, the games are not always at the best times. Like right in the middle of the day. So it's kind of hard to do. I used to follow a little bit more, but I mostly follow international football. Thank you very much, Latinum. Okay, I am going to take a short break. Bathroom break. I'm probably not going to be streaming too much longer, but I'm just going to check on something so I know exactly how long we can stream today. But it's not going to be the latest stream. Also, God bless Chess TV, as you guys know. God bless Chess TV. I'll be back in a bit. Just give me a sec. BRB. All right. Hello, hello. Perhaps regrettably, this will not be a long return visit. Have some dinner plans. Just confirming. But yes, they do exist, so it's going to be a short and sweet one today. Here for a short time, not a long time. Here for a good time, not a bad time. I hope you guys enjoyed that little explanation there. Hope it wasn't too basic. But that's kind of what this segment's all about when we play the slower games. So if it's not for you or it's too basic, then maybe skip that segment. But that's what it's going to be about. Hey, see you Twink Time. See you good old Tash, Neil. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll have a longer stream. I have longer streams over the next couple days. But that's going to be it for tonight for me. I would also like to report to everybody that Big Dill has made more banana bread. That's right. Our baking stream has created bakers out of all of us. What the hell are we doing up in here? So I got more home-baked banana bread. Woo! I'll see everyone tomorrow. All right, everyone, have a good night. Take care. Let's send this raid off. We don't often end around this time, but let's send a raid to Ben. Hey, Nitwaz? Thank you for the 5 subs. That puts us ever so close to our 69 sub goal today. So I do appreciate that, especially as we're leaving the exit subs. That's just really kind. Let's raid Ben. We don't often catch him while he's live. He raids the channel a lot. We love Ben. Go Ben. And thanks guys for the support today. You guys had a lot of energy. Today was actually a really fun stream for me. I don't know. I had a good time, even though it was pretty short. So I'll see you guys for much longer streams later this week. We streamed for 13 hours yesterday, so just balancing it out. Ugh. Have a good one. Good night, everyone. I'm going to raid Ben Feingold on his new channel name. It's Ben and Karen. Not sure if they're both streaming right now, but go Ben.